everyone, Violet here, and I hope you have some tea for this one because we're going to be talking about Yule today. So blessed Yule if it's about to be Yule for you, and also if you are watching this because you want to learn about all of the Sabbats in the Wheel of the Year, this is the last one to totally complete our playlist on this channel of all 8 Sabbats. So please check out the playlist. And yeah, let's get into it. So Yule is the winter solstice. It is the longest night of the year, the shortest day of the year, and it occurs in the northern hemisphere, usually on December 21st or 22nd, and in the southern hemisphere, it'll be all the way on the other side of the year in June. So, as you know, right now, if you're celebrating Yule, then on the other side of the year, other side of the wheel, there will be a lot of people who are celebrating Litha, the summer solstice. So there is a relationship between these two holidays, and we will get into that very soon. So as this is the darkest time of the year, it is also the rebirth of the sun. And the sun, from this point forward, will be growing and growing and becoming longer and longer days leading up to the summer solstice. So we remember at this time that even in the darkest of times, there's hope on the other side. We learn that there is survival beyond death. And actually our last Sabbat, Samhain, had a lot to do with death and honoring the dead and ancestors. And here we're seeing, there is also a continuation of life after death. It's in some way. This is also why at this time evergreen trees are so celebrated, because they stay green all throughout the winter. So you can see that green life. That life is still there, it's still present. So when you think of a Christmas tree, since you know Christmas is right next to Yule, decorating that evergreen tree has a long tradition, and decorating your home with evergreen boughs is all sort of bowing to this concept of like life through darkness, beyond death, and a continuation, hope, survival. At this time, there is also a cracking open, I think of it, of the heart into love and compassion, like deep love. And a lot of this comes from this same realization that there is more to this than meets the eye. You know, there is a greater energy, there's a greater sense of rhythm and connection beyond just what we might experience from our limited perspective. So it's a time for bringing those you love in even closer, huddling in closer with each other, experiencing each other's warmth and the life. We not only are acknowledging this like eternal life within us, we like feel that radiating from other people as well. And so there's also this beauty of gift giving during this time, and like appreciating those that you love and honoring them with a gift, and receiving one in return perhaps, and having this exchange of energy. So the other side of the year is Litha, or Litha, some people say it like that, which is the summer solstice. And I see this as like, you know, this is when the sun is at its height. This is like the fullest expression of self, the fullest like celebration in a very external, very energetic way. It's like often a gathering of the greater community. It's really like putting yourself out there, being out in nature, versus the winter solstice. There's a lot, like I said, of huddling indoors, of being next to your loved ones and close to them. There's a more internal process. It's taking that external light and it's finding it within, because there is less of it outside. So you can think of the glow of the fireplaces, the candles within. You think about how when it gets darker later at night and you see a house just like glowing forth through their windows, or having, you know, holiday lights outside and kind of like bringing light into that darkest time. That is what Yule is about, is to create those warm feelings when it is so much colder. So in thinking about the mythology of this time, I actually see this, the darkest time, sort of the womb, you can almost think of it, of the year, as the meeting of the 3 aspects of the goddess together. they're gathered with each other and sharing their wisdom and their perspectives. I see the maiden aspect as coming to the mother aspect to ask for advice in finding her true love. And in reaching her dreams. And I see the mother aspect going to the crone aspect and asking for advice for when she does give birth to her baby, and advice about being a mother. And I also see the crone aspect as learning from the maiden aspect in some ways about this like return to the childlike innocence and wonder as the cycle and this wheel kind of begins to turn over. So in looking at nature itself, I like to look at the 4 elements and what is actually happening to gain some wisdom and some inspiration from them. So for the aspect of air, I actually see the air as almost like glowing at this time. Think about how the light reflects off of the snow, if it's falling or even if it's on the ground and reflecting back up. Think about how with the light being like a lot of times during the day being closer to the horizon, I just have a different experience with light in the air in the winter time, and I think in a way I appreciate it a whole lot more. There's also something about the trees being bare of leaves and how in a way the forest itself is brighter. You experience the light more even though there's less of it, which is a very curious part of the mystery that I feel in the wintertime, and I feel especially around the winter solstice. So, and then this comes a little bit to the next one, which is fire, the element of fire, and thinking about how fire at this time is so, it's necessary for survival. I think that there's an instinct to be close to it, to appreciate it, to cook like warm food over the fire. And with the element of earth, you can actually see at this time, especially because you begin to see the snow like starting to be on the ground, but maybe not entirely covering it. You can see this decay process of the leaves that have fallen in the fall. They're on the soil, and then the snow and the wetness begin to really sink down and begin to break down into the soil. And you can see how that process is what's creating the foundation, the inner warmth of the earth as a womb, as being where spring is going to spring forth later. And with the element of water, especially appreciating those first snowflakes that you see, the very structure of the snowflake is crystalline. So appreciating crystals and the relationship between water and crystals, I think is very powerful during this time. And appreciating the uniqueness of each snowflake, and yet they have the same sort of rhythm, the same sort of blossoming, like a mandala within their structure. So for Yule, personally with my family, we like to keep this as like our celebration for just our immediate family. Yule is like a very sacred time, and it's right before Christmas, and I sometimes have to travel home, see family for the holidays, and it's kind of like a bigger thing with more energies and more like types of dynamics to deal with and navigate through. So Yule is a wonderful time to kind of like, maybe before that is going to happen, at least in my case, to like focus in on our family unit and our traditions, and it's a time that we can always hopefully keep sacred. So some ways that you can celebrate Yule are playing music, singing songs together. I especially like to imagine this around a fireplace. Just like we were saying earlier, decorating evergreen trees, also lighting candles, really celebrating that warmth, lighting fires, putting up lights outside of your house, like celebrating light in that fashion. So light and the continuation of life through the green clippings that you might put around as well. Lighting a Yule log and keeping it lit throughout the darkest night, like having something that carries you through. And I have often actually done this with just like a candle, like put a candle maybe somewhere very safe if you're going to sleep, like in a fireplace or something, but keep a light going throughout the night. Some colors are crimson red, deep green, pearly white, glittering gold. You can use that for decorations, for your altar, for your art making. Some herbs are holly, pine needles, chestnut, mistletoe. Some crystals are clear quartz, moss, agate, red jasper, and snowflake obsidian. So blessed Yule, thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments how you like to celebrate, and I will see you next time. We now have expansion packs coming out for Sabbat, a Witch's card game, my original card game, and we have one for each Sabbat in the Wheel of the Year this year, so definitely take a look at those. This is the one for Yule. We have special ingredients, spells, everything specific to that Sabbat. So I really hope that you enjoy and check it out. It'll be linked down below.